If you've ever watched a Bollywood action film, or even danced along to the toe-tapping beats of the songs that complement it, you've come across an item song. These are the impervious bubbles in the otherwise action-packed flicks I will be examining that allow women to freely express their sexuality through seductive tumkes and alluring lack of clothing as item girls in item songs. This is a fairly new linguistic term that emerged in the late 1990s with Shah Rukh Khan and Malika Arora Khan's item number Chaiya Chaiya. Grant Barrett defines the item song as a musical performance that has little to do with the film in which it appears, but is presented mainly to showcase beautiful dancing women, to promote a song, or to lend marketability to a film. The item song portrays a carnivalesque space where women are objectified and framed as a sexual exotic other. Including these choreographed songs and dance numbers in the movie is essential to the formula of a successful Bollywood flick, especially in the male-dominated genre. In this video essay, I will examine how item songs utilize female bodies to dichotomize good female identities, that is, the ideal wife dedicated to her husband, and bad female identities, that is, the sultry other woman who exists for male pleasure. For the purposes of my argument, I will primarily concentrate on 3 item songs from recent action movies with alpha male protagonists. These include Munni Badnaam Hui from Dabangg 2010, Laila from Shootout at Wadala 2013, and Chikni Chameli from Agnipath 2012. As is evident through the posters, these movies follow the stories of alpha-male protagonists out for revenge against the antagonists. The item girl is not mentioned on the posters, as she is simply a virtual accessory to attract male audiences and drive up sales. If we were to remove these songs from the movie, it would not take away from the main plot. They simply use the female body as a break from the usual shootouts, fight scenes, and car chases. Additionally, by inserting a raunchy song and dance routine performed by a half-naked woman, the movie reassures the audience, both on and off the screen, of the heterosexuality and the macho masculinity of the male actors. It is clear that item songs are a provocative distraction in Bollywood action movies. It borrows elements from classical, western, and non-classical dances to create an entertainment alloy that hopes to not only appeal to local Indian audiences, but to the global diaspora as well. Thus, the body of the female dancer is subjected to 3 different male gazes, that of the dancers and additional crew members on set. The audience members, especially those that take distinct pleasure in whistling and clapping giddily, and the diaspora, some of whom depend on Bollywood movies to fuel their connection with their home. The male gaze refers to the gaze of the camera, wherein the spectator, both male and female, is invited to take pleasure in a particular configuration where the male is active and the female is passive. Specifically, in an item song, the camera dictates that the male gaze view the woman object through a voyeuristic lens and see the woman as a temptress and a prostitute. The voyeuristic male gaze dictates how we view the female performing body as something to sexually humiliate and objectify. By observing the ways in which the camera pans over the nearly naked bodies of the female performers, we can begin to break down how they are sexualized. Laila begins with an establishing shot that slowly focuses on her body. The slow pan from her foot up to her chest as she seductively looks at her onlookers assures the audience that the upcoming 4-minute sequence shall allow them to easily objectify the woman. The slow zoom is primarily used during monologues where one character is talking and the camera moves almost imperceptibly into them, drawing the viewer closer. Laila is a prostitute hired to dance for Manya and his posse in order to provide them and the evading audience a well-deserved break from guns and violence. Through the lyrics of the song, she is painted as a seductive temptress who is sure to woo the anticipating men with her alluring tumkes and body. The song begins with Laila offering to become their newlywed wife for one night. She is offering up her virginity to the evading men, the highest bidders for Laila. This subcontext continues as Manya, as played by John Abraham, pulls Laila into his lap and ties her in place. What follows is resemblant of a sex scene as Manya thrusts his crotch into Laila while dancing. It is important to pause here and note that Sunny Leone is a former porn star, and that her rise to popularity among Indian men is primarily due to her previous occupation. Thus, the camera deliberately objectifies Sunny in this sequence in an effort to appeal to the fantasies of the audience regarding Sunny Leone's career as a porn star. This is directly related to the overt display of sexuality and intimacy during the main plot. Sexual or intimate scenes in Bollywood are usually confined to the song and dance sequences, hence their enormous importance and attraction to the male audiences. However, the blatant sexploitation of the former porn star in an item song is not a regular occurrence in item songs, such as Munni Badnaam Hui or Chikni Chameli. Malaika Arora Khan as Munni is considered more respectable than Sunny Leone, although her career path mostly includes item numbers. Thus, in Munni Badnaam Hui, Malaika's body is never violated by the touch of the men dancing along with or watching her, except briefly by the antagonist while dancing. The dance sequence also seems a lot more innocent compared to Leela, although the male gaze is ever present. Munni stuffs her blouse with money being showered upon her by the antagonist of the film, which is representative of him attempting to use the power of his money in order to control his fantasy girl. The focal point switches to Munni's breasts as she directs the attention by shaking them, effectively using her sexuality to invite the male gaze of the local and diasporic male audience, as well as the men in her space staring at her body. Let's switch to our lyrical analysis. The song tells the story of Munni, a popular bar dancer who was requested by A-list Bollywood actors such as Saif Ali Khan and Amitabh Bachchan. Munni is willing to sacrifice all this and become Badnaam, that is, ruin her reputation for you, the audience. Near the end of the song, Munni refers to herself as an item, the object of desire and male gaze. She also claims to have a figure like Shilpa and a style like Beppo, which refers to two highly sought-after heroines of their time, Shilpa Shetty and Kareena Kapoor. This suggests that Munni is attempting to reach the same status as the actresses who dance in similar item songs, however are subjected to less stigma as is portrayed through Chikni Chameli. The lack of male hands on the female performing body is made up for through the sexually explicit lyrics that remind the audience that the sexual female performing body is a prostitutive object first and foremost. The dance and song routine in Chikni Chameli contains even less violations from male touch, as the item girl is played by an A-list Bollywood actress revered for her Western beauty in Indian popular culture. Katrina Kaif plays Chameli, as the audience learns through the group introduction after the ethereal flowing cloth draping over her figure is suddenly ripped away to display the female performing body. Hips first, face second, of course. Despite the sheer amount of men surrounding her personal space, none of the male dancers ever make contact with her body. The only males she touches are the lead actors, Hrithik Roshan and Sanjay Dutt, and even that is simply her touch, not theirs on her body. This speaks volumes, as it suggests that the socio-economic standing of the women playing the item girls greatly affect the way in which the women are subjected to the male gaze and sexualized. Compared to Leela, Chameli seems rather empowered through the use of her sexuality as a form of power and control over the hundreds of men surrounding her. This is further displayed by Chameli's act of showering money on the audience on the other side of the camera. Unlike Munni, Chameli holds the money and thus has the power in this item number. I do not claim that this is a feminist item song at all. Chameli ends up sexualizing herself through the song she is singing. As Chameli hangs from a chandelier, she taunts the men by calling them hungry lions as she swings her body above them, symbolizing the body of meat that the men can't wait to tear apart and devour. Even in the chorus, she informs the audience that she has arrived in secret, alone, and slightly tipsy. This may be an effort to invite the audience to make the connection that she isn't a good little girl, but rather a raunchy woman ready to start her lonely evening with her audience of men. However, despite the blatant sexualization of the female body through the lyrics, it is quite evident that the upper-class actresses and respectable women are physically displayed and directed in a slightly less provocative fashion. This may be a throwback to Nautch girls, who existed during the British occupation of India. These girls captivated the hearts of ordinary Englishmen through their grace and charm, and enraptured the elite with their nautch, which some of them found superior to all the operas in the world. They rose to the status of a celebrity, wooed by kings and princes, who could not resist their physical charm, lively company, and high accomplishment in dance and music. The item numbers of today are a remnant of the culture of Nautch, and Chameli's use of her body to sexually control men is reminiscent of the Nautch girl. However, not all item numbers resemble the respectable image. As Basu states, the item number cannot be dealt with or without the subject that is veritably the politics of commodification of the body of the woman performer. In addition to being sexualized, the construction of the female body is also political. As India debates the current ban on dance bars as moral or immoral, the item song provides a virtual escape where a female dancing for the pleasures of men is moral, enjoyable, and somehow part of the narrative. Thus, the item girl is doubly marginalized with respect to gender biases, as well as the question of morality that plagues the site of construction. Bar dancing occurs where bars have employed, in addition to waitresses, women who dance seductively, but fully clothed, to Bollywood film music on a stage before male customers who consume liquor. The only difference between bar dancing and item numbers is the degree to which women are sexualized. Bar dancers view themselves as independent, without the desire to marry, and earning an income with izzat or self-respect. Despite the stigma that may come with the occupation, they strongly believe that they have reclaimed their agency and dignity by asserting that they are dancing out of need, not by force. However, with the ban on bar dancing, item songs grow more sexually explicit towards women in an effort to fill the normalized male need for sex-tertainment, which was legitimized through nautch girls. With this essay, I do not mean to proclaim that item numbers must be removed from the Bollywood action genre completely. There is literature out there that claims that item numbers provide women a safe space within which to express their sexuality without the real-life consequences. Amita Nijwahan states that dance numbers convey a kind of femininity that is new to Indian popular culture. She continues further by stating that item numbers render, reproduce, and rupture Indian myths about femininity by showcasing the sexual desire of the Indian woman. I agree with these statements. However, the item songs are further normalizing a need for male-oriented entertainment in popular culture. It is spreading a new kind of ideology that dichotomizes identities of women. If you adhere to traditional values, you are revered by society as a modest, respectable woman. If you choose to adhere to modern values, you are seen as a sexual other who is mercurial and temperamental. Item numbers simply recirculate the beauty myth by portraying sexually alluring women as being more attractive to men than the traditional housewife. There is beauty in Aishwarya Rai Bachchan's depiction of Paro in Devdas, but there is a heterosexual appeal in her depiction of Sunehri in Dhoom 2. Thus, item numbers exist only for male pleasure, especially in the action genre in Bollywood. Although the female performing body may be seen as sexually active and expressive of female desire, it simply creates another beauty ideal that the everyday woman must juggle along with the traditional housewife and the good daughter.